afternoon, good evening, good morning, Piniac folks. Man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong moniker. I am the Emperor of Female Combat Sports Talk. Sometimes I forget. Every now and then, I have another crown. I don't get to wear it too often, but it's a great opportunity to use every now and then. Talk about women in mixed martial arts. I'm a fan of it. Really get onto doing some time. Being a content maker. But I'm going to go by my moniker. I am the Emperor of Female Combat Sports Talk right now. And I appreciate y'all for coming through. I know some of you guys, you're a fan of particularly of the other Emperor, but this one here is one I like to do every now and then. I get a chance to. We have a lovely young lady, and she competed a few weeks ago at the Invicta 61 in the women's 145 division. It's making a return. The last champion in 145 in Invicta was Pam Bam Sorensen, who left the Invicta to go off to Bellator. And she was part of the headliner of the Invicta 161. She defeated her opponent in a first round triangle choke submission. And she's a pretty amazing lady. I mean, pretty good. Triangle choke, that's tough. So we have the lovely Miss Joy, KillJoy Pendell, and we're gonna share with her story and how she got started into the world of mixed martial arts and what her plans are for this rest of this year. Because I think folks can believe it, we're just a few days out from May and just a few days to April. Just time is flying. So welcome, madam, and thank you for coming.
Hello, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I love being able to tell people about myself and my career, and then of course get people more interested in women's mixed martial arts and in the women's side of the sport too.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the women mixed martial arts. Some ladies I follow, and some ladies I've even had the pleasure of interview. Some even ladies in other forms of fighting combat sports like bare knuckle and also boxing. And you might call it's not really combat sports, still sports entertainment, it's wrestling. So, Joy, can you share a story and what got you started in this sport, as I call it, blood and violence?
Yeah, so I after I graduated college, I was looking for a hobby. I was just a little bit out of shape, nothing crazy, but I just wasn't totally happy with my body, and I just wanted something to keep me active. And also after college, I was looking for a friend group again. When you're in school, it's really easy to make friends because you have all these shared interests with people your age and in the same place in life as you. And then after college, a lot of people can kind of go through that little bit of post-college blues. So jiu-jitsu was the perfect answer for me because, of course, we're all united by a shared purpose, self-improvement, getting better. And then, of course, once I got into the competition side of it, then we're all driven by, wanting to compete and win and continue to improve ourselves, of course. But how I even found out about it was actually Ronda Rousey. My uncle had posted a little clip about Ronda Rousey on Facebook, and I started going down the YouTube rabbit hole, watching her stuff, and I just thought it was so cool what she was doing, and I thought, okay, I want to try this. So I just drove down to Sacramento, went to Uriah Faber's Ultimate Fitness, and tried out a jiu-jitsu class and loved it, and I just signed up. They had a sale where if you committed to the whole year, you got a special deal. So I just signed up for the whole year, and I was like, screw it, let's just do it. And that's always been my personality. If I find something I like, I just jump in, just head first. Um, and the and the craziest thing about the whole story is just that at the time I had moved back to my parents' house, after college, and they live in this super tiny small town of 250 people, like way up in the like the foothills, like below the West Coast Range Mountains. And it was a 2-hour drive from this little tiny town to Sacramento, like 2 hours one way. But I was
Oh,
so, yeah, but I was so determined to do it. I just didn't even care. I would drive 2 hours, train for an hour and a half, and then drive home. And that's how much I wanted to do it. So I always tell people where there's a will, there's a way. If you want to do something, you're just gonna simply do it.
mm-hmm. So you had determination, ambition. You wanted to do something different after college. Because I went to college. It was community college, but but I can understand, especially we get out of school as a young person. Especially if you're looking for a job or work, or you want to find something that you know that give you some passion. And Uriah Faber, he is a top-notch former UFC champion. I think he also former Rex champion. I mean, did pretty good for a career. I think he was supposed to make a comeback with another federation that was the Global Fighting League, but something like that. It's kind of funny. I know it's a bunch of mostly ex-UFC other fighters, Holly Holmes, so many others who are going here, but they were supposed to have a fight coming up, I think, a couple of weeks ago, but then something happened. I don't know what's going on. So you come from a small town, and I can understand. I live in a small town, and went and start training. What was that experience like? Because jiu-jitsu, it's a totally different type of discipline compared to any other discipline.
Yeah, so I had never ever been in any sort of fight before I started training martial arts. So I was really shy about getting hit. Like I didn't know what that would be like to get punched in the face. Like nobody had ever punched me in the face before. So of course I started with jiu-jitsu, and then one of my teammates talked me into competing. She's my best friend today. So she talked me into going to a tournament with her, and I did really well in the tournament. And then I just got addicted to competing and started, getting real confidence in my jiu-jitsu. And it turns out I was a bit of a natural at grappling, but also I feel like it's not just like talent, physical talent. It's just a mentality. Like I grew up on a farm, and I'm just gritty and grimy and just tough, and that's what it takes to be good at any martial art, but especially jiu-jitsu. Like you just have to be tough, and you have to be determined and be committed to learning and getting through the hard parts of it, of course. And so a few months after I started jiu-jitsu, then I started training just a little bit of boxing. But again, I was really shy about getting hit. I was really nervous about it. So it took time. It took about 4 years before I did my very first Muay Thai smoker fight. But I did well. I won, and then I did lots of other smoker fights. Struggled a little bit to like really find my groove in that. And then when I took my first 2 amateur MMA fights, I actually lost both of them by decision. Not like I got beat up or anything like that, but I just, got outscored and lost, 2 rounds to 1. And yeah, and then I found my coach that I work with today, Daniel Brito, and we've been working together since 2019 really consistently. And then that's when I really found my groove in mixed martial arts, figured it out, went 5 straight undefeated fights as an amateur, and then went ahead and turned pro, and now I'm 5-2 as a pro. So yeah, it's definitely been quite the journey.
Yeah. So Dan came along, he polished you up, he worked on a few things you were weakness at, and made you stronger. You were good jiu-jitsu, but the thing was, I don't know, I've been in a few fights, and I know I don't like get hit in the face either, or anywhere in the body, I mean, it hurts,
Totally.
But you know what? I respect anybody who gets into it, be it boxing, be it Muay Thai, be it karate, be it any kind of combat sports, who get into a ring or a cage or anything with a person and is willing to take those hits and to throw those hits back. I mean, it's tough, especially if you look at for as women, because women, are like even in boxing, it's not as popular, but it's growing some momentum a little bit. And you mentioned Ronda Rousey. I think some ladies have interviewed before that told me that was a person that inspired them, or someone like Chris Cyborg, or someone like I think what was her, I forgot her name. She used to
Misha
be
Tate?
not Misha Tate. God, she's
Gina
back then.
Carano?
Gina Carano, that's one right
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that's one that was really popular back in the day. I mean, she has parlayed her life to something else outside of mixed martial arts. Also, quite a few ladies. Is there anybody that you are a big fan of outside of Ronda in the sport, both male or female?
Oh, gosh, I'm such a fan of all these ladies, but I think Valentina Shevchenko, how can you not be a fan of hers? And just,
The Bullet.
yes, so much heart, so much spirit, and I just love the saga that she had with Alexa Grasso, like those losses that she took, but she knew that she was better. She knew that she could do it. She just needed to make some adjustments. But it didn't break her spirit. Those losses didn't break her. It just made her better, and I can really identify with that because I'm not perfect and I'll mess up and lose. But you know what? You just go back the gym, you fix your mistakes, and then you try again. That's it. Like, losing doesn't make you a loser. You just, losing and failing is a part of life. It's just about dealing with it in a healthy way, and it's about using it to your advantage. You have to use everything to your advantage in life. You have to take the cards that you've been dealt, and you have to figure out how to play them, and that's it. And that's the beauty of martial arts. Just having faith in yourself, having confidence in yourself, believing in yourself, and just working on yourself, just continuing that journey, because it's the journey that's worth it. It's the journey is why we do it, not just that destination.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Valentina Shevchenko. She's a great fighter. Her sister, recently just announced her retirement. We don't know. I think Valentina's gonna keep fighting. This is my theory of Valentina Shevchenko. This is a theory of mine. She's the daughter of Ivan Drago. I believe she is. I don't know. Maybe it's not a real. It's not a real character, but she goes in there. I mean, she's just stone faced and she's serious. And her skill set. She's like, there was. I think it was one time the talk of her maybe doing the Black Widow movie a few years ago. Because one time her hair was red, and I thought she was that movie. She did that movie Holly with Halle Berry. But she's an amazing fighter. I'm a fan of hers. I think she did pretty good in her career. And also, fight with Alexa Grasso was pretty good. The first one, it broke my heart when she lost. That second one, that was some bullshit. I'm gonna tell you right now. She won. Just one knockdown. That's not enough. But she came back and she just dominated. She came in. I think she's had to fix a few things. Like I got a friend. His name is the coach Shelton Harrison. He talks about MMA. He's also done interviews. He interviewed Valentina and said like her coach Pavel. He has a plan. He always has a plan. So. So you have been fighting for a good while. You also had titles. I know your last title was with A1. I think that was the federation. So
Yes.
And you are the champion 145. And you should be proud. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull up a video from that fight. She it's a little interview she did afterwards. So I want y'all to check it out. And like I said, give a shout out to it because, like I said, it's tough, especially for any person to get this in this world of combat sports, and especially again for a woman. So here we go.
How did it feel to capture that win via unanimous decision? Did it feel like a little bit of retribution for like how Johnny had mentioned that fight 9 months ago?
Yes, it did. The fight 9 months ago, I was winning every single second of that fight until I got too aggressive, overcommitted too much on the throw, and allowed her the opportunity to slip onto my back. So it was really important to me to get this fight and important to prove that I am the superior fighter. I am the superior martial artist. And finally, I did that tonight. And honestly, it wasn't even as dominant as I wanted it to be. I wanted to do even better and finish her, but that's okay. I'll take a unanimous decision.
You battled back from that first round. Can you kind of guide the fans through that exactly and what was going through your mind? Was it feeling a little deja vu-ish? I mean, can you guide the fans through that?
The first round was pretty wild. There was just a lot of punches. No, it didn't really feel deja vu because the very first fight, it was almost all grappling in the first fight. So this fight, I'm glad we got to throw more. I'm glad I got to feel that. And, she hits pretty good, but nothing that's going to knock anybody out. So I just bit down on my mouthpiece and just threw back. And that was it.
Who is next for you? I know you said you had a laundry list of opponents that are possibly waiting in the rafters, but I think one that's possibly going to be looking at this matchup with a little bit of more vigor, Jaylene Robledo, a lady that you had a very close matchup with. What would be your thoughts about Tom Anderson running that one back?
So, look, I didn't feel like the fight between Jay and I was that close. I really didn't. I felt like I dominantly won that fight. I was super confident. I don't see any reason to run that back right now, but I'm more than happy to run that back at some point in the future. I wouldn't mind fighting her again at all. But for right now, I do have a list of girls that have not fought before, a bunch of girls who are under 5 fights, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, that kind of thing. So those would be really good, appropriate matchups for me. And again, I'm looking to grow and build myself and then on to tougher and tougher opponents.
Anybody in particular that you want to make the call out here for tonight?
Okay, well, I don't want to call her out. I was going to just respectfully maybe send her an Instagram message and be like, would you please fight me? But someone that I have in mind, respectfully, is Krista Timms. She's 2-1. She also is a black belt. She's on the East Coast. But I do feel like we would be a good matchup. So if her camp decides that it would also be a good matchup, I think we'd be a great match for each other. So I'm hoping maybe her.
Now 3-1 in your professional MMA career, possibly looking to add on to that even more. You said you had a birthday coming up in November, correct? What day was that?
November 28th.
November 28th, couple days after Thanksgiving, and possibly looking to have a fight to add on to the celebrations of the laundry list Thanksgiving birthday. Why not throw a fight in there? Michael Hernandez of MLH Media, and we're going to be signing out over here at A1 Combat 24 with KillJoy, Joy, and Pendell after her A1 Combat featherweight championship victory. Hey, congratulations on your win.
Well, congratulations, champ. I mean, it must have been a pretty good fight, and your opponent was, you dominated your opponent, as you say. It wasn't the domination you wanted, but still, you beat the girl, and you should be proud of yourself.
Totally. And it just feels really good to get a loss back, to get a loss corrected, because the thing is, like, I'm so much better of a martial artist than that girl. I'm so much better of a fighter. My skill set is so far superior. And in the first fight, I was just like absolutely dominating and had her like in submission attempt after submission hold. Like, I was really close to finishing her several times. And she's very squirmy, and she just kept, wiggling and surviving and just like barely escaping, and got saved by the bell one round, And then, but then I just got a little aggressive, made a little mistake. She got on my back, and that just like burned, But again, those kind of things will make you stronger as long as you accept it with the correct mindset, and you go ahead and fix the things, fix the mistakes. And honestly, it's good for the ego to get humbled here and there, and it's good just to remind myself, of course, that I'm human like everybody else, and I goof up on occasion. And it's good to goof up more towards the beginning of my career, rather than towards the end. So no, it definitely made me better to have to go through that loss, but then to get her back and just have like a nice dominant win over her, and just prove once and for all, like, yeah, I'm way better than her. And then I can move on to more opponents, Oh, and also I just want to say, Amanda Nunes is another fighter that I have a lot of admiration for, not just because of course, everything she's accomplished, but how she accomplished it. And what I mean by that is she actually lost her professional debut as well. And she, had some wins, had some losses, had some wins, had some losses at the beginning of her career. And then she really settled into her groove, and then just like was defeating, everybody. And then again, kind of like got caught slipping by Juliana Pena, but then just was like, no, like, I'm better than her. Yeah, like, I lost, but I know I'm better than her. And then trained, got that rematch, and then, got the dominant victory over her again. So I just feel that, I identify with Amanda in a lot of ways too. And I just really look up to her and admire her mindset. And I feel like so far our careers have had some real similar trajectories. And I hope they continue to, because she's fantastic and amazing, and, one of the greatest women fighters of all time. So that's my goal too. It's just continue to grow myself and be the very best I can be.
Well, personally, I'm not a big fan of Amanda Nunes. I'm not really a big fan of hers. I mean, she holds up the title too long when she gets it. But I say she's a good fighter. I remember when she fought Kat Zingano, she was whooping Kat's tail, but then Kat snuck it on her, and boom, that's the thing. She just, like you said again, sometimes you get so much into it, you think you got it. Then, like what happened with Holly Holmes when she fought Misha Tate, she was whooping Misha Tate. Misha Tate could take a beating. Honestly, that girl can take a beating, and and she just snuck it on Holly Holmes. I mean, she was a bigger opponent, she's stronger, but and also better hands. But she's a better wrestler. She knows how to do the ground. And that's the thing is, I think everybody has their strength. Like with Ronda, she was a great judoka. She knows how to do the submissions. I think Amanda, stronger hands. You look at Valentina, she's just an overall great skill set. I think it's not one thing she's not good at. Maybe just not as strong compared to other competitors. That's why she went down to 125, because even though she's beating girls in 135, it was tough because sometimes she barely makes the weight. And, any fighter, you should be proud of yourself when you go into the ring and you fight an opponent. And you fought this opponent twice, and her name is Carlina Chandler. Any relation to Carlene?
Carlene Chandler, and yes, she's the little sister of Chelsea Chandler.
Did you just see that Chelsea's got ragdoll just in case?
Wait, say it again.
Chelsea got ragdoll.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, Edwards beat her to the Pope. I think they pulled her too soon. I think she needed
Yeah.
more time to stew a bit. I think, after that fight with Norma Dumont, when she was doing like a track star, she's a track star, but I think maybe you might see her coming back because she did fight 145 in Invicta. I don't know if she don't get any more better wins in the belt, she might come back down to y'all girls.
Yeah, and I could definitely see myself having that match with Chelsea. Within the next couple of years, I could definitely see that. But also, I fought Charlene 3 times. Actually, I fought her as an amateur, and then I fought her twice as a professional. And I TKO'd her as an amateur. I took her down and just ground and pounded her. So I actually have 2 wins over Carlene.
We should be proud of that. Sometimes people forget about the amateur part because we become a pro. That's a big focus. But yeah, it takes time and journey and working. And you mentioned your coach, and y'all have a good relationship. And is he a fighter too, or he's been just exclusively a trainer?
He's mostly just a trainer. He had a couple fights back in the day, but he never went professional or anything like that. But the interesting thing about my coach is he worked as a bouncer for something like 15 years and just was in tons and tons, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of all sorts of altercations, street fights, like fighting multiple people at once and all sorts of just crazy stuff. So I love that because that's a part of life that I never experienced, and nor do I want to. but it's so interesting. Like a lot of what he talks about with me is, mentality stuff, and then just how to really fight. Like it's not just about like singular skill sets, which you need for sure. And I have this great skill set in jiu-jitsu, and then of course I have my skill sets in Muay Thai and boxing. And he really works with me on my boxing a lot. Like that's his focus with me. That's been his focus with me since the beginning, and I've gotten way more confident in my hands. But just blending all the different martial arts and blending the styles, and again, just how to fight, And he's a real life like street fighter, So he's been so helpful to me. I can't even explain how much. And of course, every athlete needs to find the coach that they click with. Not every coach is going to be good for every athlete and vice versa. But the dynamic between Brito and I is exactly what I always needed. And I'll for sure have him in my corner, for the rest of my career. I won't fight without him in my corner.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. If you know the classic movie Rocky Balboa and Mick, and that, how Mick trained Rocky and said, "You're gonna be a big, greasy, fast Italian tank." And and want you to win, and then especially if he's in your corner, and sometimes you hurt, you say you might feel a little hurt there, and you might feel that you a little birdie on your shoulder. It's me saying, "Get up, you bitch." Cleo loves ya. It's good to have that because I know I've talked to ladies, especially in like I do most of my content bodybuilding, how sometimes when you work with women, it's different aspects compared to men. Like training is different. You also deal with things that are different biology compared to men and women. Men, we have natural strength because we have natural testosterone. We can, when you get to some point, you get stronger. Women, it's just something that you are still learning. You do have just a smidgy bit of testosterone, but when you grow and develop your skill set, and to realize that I'm at a level where I'm pretty good. And you talk about your trainer being like, he reminds me, there was a movie, this movie before your time, it's called Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. They called him Dalton. That sound like your trainer sound like Dalton. If I see him say, "I thought you were bigger." But yeah, so you did with Invicta 61, and that was your first round submission. What was that feeling? Because you know what, it looked like you did pretty good. You really, did pretty good.
Yeah, that was my most dominant fight ever by a long shot. And it was just great. Everything went exactly according to plan. And what's funny is how I defeated my opponent was actually exactly the way that her last opponent defeated her. It was the only video that I was able to find of her to study. And it was in PFL, and it was against Michelle Montag. And Michelle just came out, Amelia, with like a flurry of strikes. Really, I backed straight up and got kind of on the fence, and then Michelle just clinched her up on the fence, took her down, choked her out. And that's exactly what I did. And the thing is, it was in my mind that was a possible route, of course, that I could take. But then also I have to be prepared for, you know, a 3-round war. I have to be prepared for her to like shoot a double leg out of me at the very beginning. Like you never know what's gonna happen. And I try not to go into my fights anymore with any specific plan, because that has seemed to have backfired on me in the past when I get like too fixated on how I want the fight to go, and you know, fixated on the takedown and things like that. No, it's important to go in there and just let the fight unfold how it unfolds, and have confidence that, you know, my skills are strong everywhere. I have great skill set everywhere as a mixed martial artist. There's nowhere that I'm weak, and so I just need to trust myself and just find my path to victory, just feel it out. But yeah, it was ironic that the way I defeated Maria, like the way the fight went was textbook, like exactly how the fight between her and Michelle Montag went in PFL. So, but yeah, it was total domination. It was great. I just came out with a little flurry, didn't get hit with any strike. I mean, I think she leg kicked me one time, and that was it. Like that's the only strike that landed. And then I clinched her up, did a takedown. It's this pinch headlock takedown I've been working on a lot lately and hitting a lot in practice. And then landed in the half guard, and then was able to execute, you know, one of my very favorite chokes, which is the head and arm triangle. So, yeah, I'm just super proud of my performance. Really happy that I took 0 damage. And then, of course, I'm just completely itching to get back in there and get showcased again, whether it's in Invicta, PFL, like whoever wants the A1, you know, because I am the A1 champion still. So, yeah, I just do fight by fight contracts. That way I'm free to move around, because I just need to get fights as a young professional, and I still am relatively young as a professional. I only have 7 pro fights, and I'm looking to, you know, just fight, and I need to, you know, win or lose, but I need to take, you know, just smart matchups, of course, like appropriate matchups. I expect to win all of them. Maybe I won't, but I expect to win all of them, and then just grow, you know, whether I win or lose, I just grow. And that's the goal, just keep improving. And then I feel like once I can get myself to 10-2, 12-2, then hopefully that'll be the point when the UFC can't ignore me, you know, anymore, and they'll have to put me on their show. And of course, that's the goal of every fighter, right? Get into the UFC, so and then get that UFC belt.
Yeah, I know UFC is probably one of the biggest organizations, especially when it comes to mixed martial arts. Big disappointment is that they don't have 145. That's the sad part about this. Fighters that are ill of UFC, like Chelsea and several others who might need to go to the division, because you know we have Kia Harrison about to fight Julia Pena in the next month, and you know, and I think it's next month or month after next. I can't remember which one. And she's a big natural girl. She was fighting in PFL at lightweight, and she's kind of squeezed herself into a 135. I don't know if she can make it much longer. I think there are opportunities. You know, when Chris Cyber was there, I like Chris Cyber, I'm a fan of hers. But when she lost to Amanda Nunes, and then the situation happened with them, it kind of, to me, killed the divisions, because they wasn't really recruiting. They did try to recruit, but then it was just, I don't know. I think David's not a fan of y'all big girls. That's what it is. We got here my man, shout out to my man, KL, the one coming through. He says, hey, what's up? Good evening. Thank you, brother. Hey, what's up? And also he says, how you get your name KillJoy. And also, he also asks this, KillJoy, can I fight you?
So I'll answer that last question first. So I'm the owner and head instructor of Willow's Jiu-Jitsu and MMA. So I train during the morning and I teach at night. And you know, I'm super proud of my little small business, small gym that I own. And look, anybody that wants to fight me, all you have to do is drive up to Willows, California, come in for your first class, which is free, sign the waiver, and yeah, we can spar, of course. But yeah, just come to my gym. Like anybody can train with me, honestly. Just come through. Anyway, and then answering the question of my name. So my name's Joy, of course. And then a couple of my kickboxing coaches, they both independently, and I'm not sure which one started first, but like they both started doing it around the same time. I'd walk in the gym door and they'd be like, KillJoy, what's up, KillJoy? Like they just started calling me that. So yeah, and then it just stuck, and I love it, of course. The definition of a killjoy is somebody who deliberately spoils the enjoyment of others, and so that's what I like to do to my opponents, of course, is ruin their good time, spoil their night, steal their night, steal that victory. So it fits, and And I enjoy it because, you know, out in real life, of course, I'm just a normal, nice person. But then in that cage, I have to get into my mentality. I have to get into that headspace of preparing to go to war with somebody, preparing to really hurt somebody, potentially get hurt, but just to have the courage to fight down and get in there and just do it and make it ugly and brawl. And I love it. Look, all of us have that within ourselves. All of us, you know, we come from like how many thousands of years, and all of our ancestors have been warring and going through famines and going through all sorts of crazy things, so that we can get here today. Like all of us have that fighter in us. It's just about accessing it and then strengthening that warrior spirit.
Yeah, kind of like my favorite fighter back there is Mike Tyson. He says, "I just want to fight." He was young, one of the youngest heavyweights in the world. He's like to fight. It's like to fight. It's like to beat the guys up and just give him the ring and hit him the guts, you know. And yeah, I think for my man KL, if you want a fighter, go to California, sign the contract, baby. Get into the on the mat with her. Do a little, it's not what you think, guy. It's not going to be as fun as you think it's going to be. I watched some of these jiu-jitsu fights in matches, and it's tough because it's probably one of the toughest, because truthfully it's the basis for most of MMA, because it started out, UFC was originally owned by the Gracie family. They're the ones who started it, and a lot of fighters have used that in their platforms as fighters. Some had come from boxing, wrestling, Muay Thai, so many different disciplines, but that's the one that really started it all. Folks, while we got Joy here, we're gonna jump into her social media for a little bit. If you want to follow Joy, her links are in the description of this live stream. If you're interested in supporting her, because these ladies can use support, even sponsorship does help, because that does help them cover the cost of training, travel, all like that. But guys, it's a nice young lady. I want everybody to be respectful. No D pics. Stop it. I know she's not a bodybuilder, but she's a cute young lady. Come on, guys, don't do that, because she might choke you out. I don't want to hear some guy get choked out by Joy. She's a cute little girl. He said, she's a cute little girl. You be like, but be respectful, guys. Be respectful. So we're gonna jump into her social media here. And here she is right here, raising her hand after her win. And what was that feeling like as a fighter?
Oh man, it's the best feeling in the world. It's all that hard work paying off. It's everything coming together. All that, the dieting and the working out, the camp, the nerves, everything, and it pays off in that moment. It's the best feeling in the world, raising my hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's a little video from Invicta, as they posted. Let me see if it should be any kind of real music. Yeah, I can't play it because of the music. Gotta be careful.
Yeah.
And here she's taking her opponent down and getting the choke. Did you feel the tap? Or because I think at one point the referee couldn't see you.
Yeah, so I heard her gurgle, and so I knew that the choke was in. I knew I had it set and I had it finished. But yeah, and then she started tapping. But look, I don't let go until that ref makes me let go, because you just can't mess up in there, And the worst thing would be to let go before the ref sees it and then lose position and lose the choke. So I'm pretty aggressive on my finishes, especially after my experience with my pro debut, when for example, I had Carlene stretched out in a fully done armbar, done. But she's really flexible, and maybe a little bit double jointed. And looking back, it's if I could do that again, I just needed to break it, not extend it, apply the pressure, wait for the tap. No. I just need to break it. And so that's my and if I had done that, then of course I would have won that fight the first time. But of course everything happens for a reason, so no worries about it. But yeah, it just taught me that in my future fights, when I have a submission hold, I need to be super aggressive. If it's a choke, I need to choke her I'm gonna kill her. I need to really be trying to kill her. Not to sound creepy, but the ref is there to stop that. Of course, the ref is there to protect her. But I need to finish those chokes super aggressively. And if I get a hold of a limb, I need to try to snap that limb off. And that's just the truth.
Yeah, you got to be like a dog with a bone. You don't want to let it go, because that's the thing is you have to be aggressive. You can't, even though you feel like I got this, you want to be certain that you get it. And here she is with her, with Morales. Was it Morales? That's who we fought. and
Yeah.
it looked like pretty good. You got her against the cage, you know, got her by the neck, got her down. It's another angle here. Took her down. You got her arms. You do a crucifix, dropping some hammers. You know,
Yeah, and honestly, like these highlights, that's pretty much the entire fight. The fight was 2.5 minutes. Like you're pretty much seeing the entire fight when you're watching the highlights. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm so happy with that performance.
yeah. You should be proud of yourself. Like I said, the training, the dieting. I mean, the work you got to put in this. I mean, here you are at the weigh-in at the Invicta. Invicta is the head president, Shannon Nabb. That's why he's been running this company for a long time. Quite a few ladies have come from this, promotion. Went to UFC and other promotions. I think it's the only right now. It's the only all women's promotion in the world because there's not that many. Because most people don't take women fighting as seriously as they do compared to the men.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so nice that there's an all women's promotion out there to really promote the female athletes. I'm so grateful to them, what they do, and grateful to Shannon. And I just want to do my part to entertain the fans and show people that, yes, women's mixed martial arts is exciting, it's real, it's interesting, and we have great skill sets. Of course, we're physically different than men. Like, of course, like, there's no question about that. But in a fight of, women versus women, like when we're all physically equal, and then you can really, really see our skill sets shine. And it's the same thing with like the men's divisions. You have those flyweight men, and of course they're not going to ever beat a heavyweight. Like, of course not. Like, this is too much of a physical difference. But that doesn't mean that there's not still just amazing talent at all the different weight classes. And so, in the same way that it's interesting to watch different sizes and strengths of men fighting and see and just see the different tactics. The way that heavyweights fight is so different in the way that flyweights fight, right? And so to just see what each different division has to offer, it's really interesting. And then the women's division, it's just the different women's divisions. It's just, again, it's interesting, and it's just a different aspect of martial arts. So anybody who's a big martial arts fan, don't ignore the women's side of the sport. Like, go ahead and be fans of both sides of the sport. There's a lot that all of us athletes have to offer.
hmm Well, we had a comment from my man, KL. He says, you don't look like a fighter, respectfully more like a fit model. Oh, that's a nice compliment.
Thank
Also,
you.
he says, still my night anytime. Yeah, he's my man, but he's kind of. And also, I seen a male bodybuilder go down by a girl that does jiu-jitsu. She knocks him out with a chokehold. Yeah, because you know what? It's a different level. It's one thing, being a bodybuilder because have a lot of muscle mass, but with fighters, you'll need that muscle mass because it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of oxygen and blood to, that's why you see like yourself, you're kind of a lean, tall young lady. Because I remember I think you talked with Megan Anderson out there. She's a pretty tall woman yourself. It's a lot of work, especially the energy you need to take, and you don't want to blow your gas tank too soon in a fight.
Yeah. But to address what the fan was saying, so look, the reason I don't look like a fighter is because I have good defense. You got to keep those hands up. Yeah, I've never broken my nose. I've never taken any significant amount of damage on my face. Never been cut. I have like a little bit of cauliflower ear on one of my ears, just from training, but it's not noticeable unless I like really point it out to somebody. So yeah, that's the goal as a fighter, is to be good at what you do. And I am good at what I do, and then I am mostly a grappler rather than a striker. Although I do feel very confident in my striking as well. But yeah, I'm not just getting in there and just exchanging blows with people, and so that's why my looks have been preserved up until this point. And of course, anything can happen. I could still totally break my nose, but luckily not yet. And then to address as far as like female jiu-jitsu practitioners versus men who don't train jiu-jitsu. Like, listen, here's the truth about jiu-jitsu. If you have a good, decent jiu-jitsu base, like let's say you're at least a purple belt, and you go against somebody who has zero knowledge of jiu-jitsu, it's like beating up a child. I mean, honestly, it is. And I know this because, as the owner and head instructor of my gym, I get a lot of new guys that come in, and of course I grapple with them because I need to show them that jiu-jitsu is real. And the best way to show them how real jiu-jitsu is that, me as a 160-pound woman, that's what I walk around at, is about 160, 160-pound woman, like I can, I can out grapple them, like no problem. And it's not that I'm stronger than them, because I certainly am not. But I have technique, and I have knowledge, and I have awareness of the positioning, and I know where I need to get to be able to defeat them. And it just doesn't matter how big and strong these guys are. If they don't know jiu-jitsu, I'm going to catch them, period. Like, that's just how it works. Now, as the guys get better and they climb through the ranks and they learn the different skills, and they figure out what it is that I'm doing, and I show them stuff, then, then the physical differences matter more. But at the beginning, when you just have a really good knowledge base and somebody has no knowledge base, like, trust me, that knowledge base matters a lot more than physicality. So jiu-jitsu really does feel like magic, especially at the beginning. And I encourage anybody who's never trained jiu-jitsu before, you should totally go to a jiu-jitsu gym and just try it out. It's so much fun, just for health, fitness, just to meet new people, and just to understand the sport. It's just really neat. Even if you never compete, even if you never want to go anywhere in it, I encourage everybody to at least try out a little bit of jiu-jitsu just for your own self-improvement.
Yeah, I always thought about when I was younger, tried martial arts, but we were poor, we couldn't afford it. We used to watch, when we was kids, used to watch Kung Fu Theater, like, hi-ya, hi-ya, yeah, like, you killed my father, you bastard. And, that's what's, yeah, it's good. Help for training, and also help endurance and strength. I don't know. I'm in a point where I'm too old, my dear. I don't know. My knees are calling me. I got issues with my shoulder. I'm a pacemaker. I'm a fat old man. I don't know if we want to, but I probably could lose some weight if I did, if I really was into it. I mean, I don't know if you want to see me rolling on the floor, be looking like a, they say, hey, we got to roll that guy around here. Say, hey, yeah, I'll be all right. But yeah, there's so much aspects to, martial arts and training and working out and understanding the factors when it comes to the fighter. Like, a man has a comment here. He says this. He says, what's your diet while training? So what's it like? Because when you're training, because as a fighter you can't eat but certain things, especially when you're in prep.
Yes, great question. So I wear this Fitbit here, and it tracks my calories. And so on days when I work out harder, I do eat a little bit more. And then on days where it's my rest day, then I have to moderate. But like yesterday, I burned 3,700 calories. I had 4 different practices, plus like holding mitts for somebody. And it's just, it's a very physical job. And I joke, of course, that I work out so that I can eat. And but as much as I do love to eat, and yes, I do have like a high calorie requirement because of how much I work out, it's important to be eating clean and be eating right. So my diet is very basic, very simple. I generally don't eat out at all, except special occasions with my friends, and then when we do eat out, we always like to go out for like fresh, like Thai food or Mexican food, something like that, something that maybe it has some calories, but it's but again, it's basic, and it's fresh. I eat a lot of eggs. I love eggs. I actually don't eat very much meat. I've just never been a big meat eater. I don't really prefer it, but I do like fish. So I eat a lot of eggs, a lot of fish, and then it's important to make sure I get my protein, of course. So I have Holmes Nutrition protein powder is the one that I like. There's all sorts of different products on the market, but it's a whey-based protein. Works well for me and for my stomach. Some people, the whey isn't going to work so well, but just find the protein supplement that works for you. Try to eat 1 gram of protein for 1 gram of body weight, or per pound of body weight. So I'm 160 pounds normally walking around. So that means I need to try to get 160 grams of protein a day, which is a lot of protein, but that's where the protein powders come in really handy. And then carbs. It's really important to have enough carbs for performance, because carbs is what fuels your muscles. And it's important to have carbs before and after your workout. So not right before your workout, of course. So for example, on Saturdays I spar. Like this morning I was sparring. So last night I had some pancakes for dinner. And I make them homemade. That way, I know exactly what's in them, and they doesn't have the preservatives and things like that. But just having those homemade pancakes, this, you know, a good carby dinner, and then when I wake up the next morning, my muscles are all fueled up from that good carby dinner. Like pasta works too. And then I'll have a, like, a good training session, and then come home and have a little bit, maybe like a toasted English muffin with an egg or something like that. So yeah, just keeping my diet really simple, and then being sure that if there's something that I shouldn't be eating, like for example Nutella, like I love Nutella, but like I cannot eat that because it's so much sugar, and sugar is not good for you. Carbs are fine in moderation. Sugar is never, like, look, sugar, you can have a little bit of sugar, it's not gonna hurt you, you know, like I'll go out for my coffee and, you know, have a little of the sweetener in the coffee, but you got to watch the sugar. All of us do, whether you're an athlete or anybody. Like you have to watch. You have to work hard to limit sugar. So, but yeah, getting enough carbs is important, and making sure you get enough protein is important. And then moderate fats, like you do need enough fat for, you know, your brain, and it is important. But the eggs provide a lot of those healthy fats. So, so yeah, for carbs, rice is good. I really like the homemade pancakes, and then pasta, like all of those things. Potatoes are good. I try to avoid a lot of bread. If I do want something bready, then that's where I like the pancakes. But a sourdough is okay for bread. White bread or even wheat bread just doesn't, it always makes me feel bloated. I don't prefer that personally. And a lot of people do find that breads make them feel bloated. So I do tend to avoid bread, but I like tortillas. Tortillas do well for me. They sit well in my body and make me feel good. So I do like an egg wrap all the time, like eggs and tortilla and a little bit of hot sauce, you know. That's like one of my main go-tos. And then I take supplements too. I like the On It Total Human. That's a really great supplement. I highly recommend that. It's not cheap, unfortunately, but it's like $100 a month or 130, something like that. But yeah, I know. I wish On It would sponsor me, but maybe in the future. But yeah, the supplements make a huge difference in recovery for how much I train. And then and of course I eat my vegetables. I love fruits and vegetables. I eat salads and things like that. And getting those bag salads from the store is great because it's just already prepared. Like you just, you know, open it and dump it in, because I think that's the reason people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, is because you have to prepare them to make them enjoyable. And then most people, you know, they just don't quite have the time. But if you get, you know, pre-done salads, or even like frozen, like stir fry vegetables, and just cook them up, you know, those are great options. You know, convenience is everything. And then also meal prepping is really, really important. Like if you have something prepared and ready to go, or something really easy to prepare and it only takes like 5 minutes and it's right there in the refrigerator, then you're going to make a good choice. Versus if you're hungry, like you're really hungry and you're coming home from practice or home from work and it's been a long day, and you know, you have two choices. You can go home and you can cook for 40 minutes and then eat dinner, or you could just drop by that taco stand. Like, guess what? You're probably going to drop by that taco stand, right? But if you have something like ready to go in the fridge where you just get home, pop it in the microwave and eat it, then yeah, that's really key. And then just remember, when it comes to diet, exercise, lifestyle, habits are everything. Just be in good habits. Your habits dictate your whole life. So yeah, I tend to go in like phases with my eating. Like I'll just have like certain things I'm eating pretty much every day for like a month or two, and then I'll maybe change out one thing, but my diet stays like pretty consistent. And yeah, just keep yourself in good habits. And a habit that I have too is I'm always kind of counting the calories in my head, you know, not exactly, because that's a lot of work, but I'll be thinking about it. You know, I know an egg has 70 calories. I know a tortilla has 110 calories. You know, so I just have it in my mind, like, you know, I just kind of keep track of what I've burned that day, what my activity level has been like, and then how much I'm eating, and just have to be aware. It doesn't have to be all scientific, writing everything out. It doesn't have to be like that, but you do just but just a little bit of awareness goes a really long ways. And then drink a gallon of water a day. That's huge, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Drinking water, it keeps you full, and a lot of times when we think we're hungry, we're actually really thirsty and don't even realize it. And then to make drinking water more enjoyable, I like to put a little bit of electrolyte powder in there. I like my Pedialyte packets, but you can get flavored drops. You can get anything you like to put in your water, just to make it a little more enjoyable to drink. And it's fine if it has a little bit of calories. Don't worry about that. But whatever you need to do to make sure you're getting that water down, it's really good for your digestion. It's good for your metabolism. Keeps you feeling fuller. And I have this half-gallon jug that I just carry around with me everywhere, and I just make sure I drink 2 of those a day, no matter what. And on days where I work out really, really hard, maybe I'll drink 3 of those. And then of course, when I'm dieting and preparing for my fights, I'm drinking 4 of those a day and getting my 2 gallons down a day. And when you drink 2 gallons of water in the day, it's very hard to have room in your stomach for anything else. And so it helps a lot with the pain of dieting when it is time for me to lose a few pounds.
Yeah, that's the thing is I've talked quite to bodybuilders who say their diet's very restrictive. They don't have too much sugars. We may not do with Nutella, but you might do peanut butter. That's an alternative. That's not too bad. Everybody finds things that works in the process. Food can be both a weapon and a tool for any competitor, for any athlete. You have to eat clean is good. That's healthy. I'm a person. I grew up, country. We eat meats. That's a habit we have. Like I said today I just cooked some chicken, some chili beans, and I had some rice. That was for my supper.
Nice.
I'm old fashioned, but I do try to eat smarter because I was 500 pounds. And when I was taking care of my mom for a long time, and then when she passed away, it was time for me to take care of myself. And I made a decision because I need to lose weight because I'm not getting younger because I have a pacemaker. I have almost 10 years, and and try to find the right thing because water can be boring. Put a little flavor in it. Maybe not no sugar, but you use lemon or you use some kind of fruit or something like that. But find things that help you in your process. Here we got a comment from my man K. He says, "Look nice in that outfit on the cage." Also, he says, "What martial arts do you study more?" Well, she's mostly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but she's also working in boxing. Working on stand-up. That's good because you need that because one thing is an old saying: listen to your corner and watch for the hook because if somebody hit you a hook, you don't see it. Also, shout out to our man KL. He is a fan. He says, what's your advice for young girls that want to do what you want to do?
Yeah, so my advice is just enjoy it. Just have fun with it. If you're not having fun training, then there's no point in training. And also you're not going to go far because then it's going to feel like work, like a chore. Look, training is really hard, but it's so rewarding. And in the same way, hard work is its own reward. It feels great to get through something difficult. It's a sense of accomplishment like no other. And also just this sense of power to know that that you really can defend yourself in a meaningful way. Some big old guy grabs you and puts you on the ground, is getting on top of you. Look, you know how to slip onto his back, put your hooks in and choke him out. Like it's an amazing sense of accomplishment, an amazing sense of power to know that you can do that. Especially somebody who doesn't train or doesn't train much, doesn't have that good a technique. So yeah, my advice to girls who want to get into this, just do it. Just walk in the door, sign up. I'm so happy that when I went into the gym for the first time that they were having that deal where you could sign up for the year and get the get a special price, because I really think that's the key is consistency. So if I had just trained for a month or two, I never would have but I committed to the whole year, and then after that year, of course, there's no getting me away from it. I was completely addicted by that point. But yeah, just make the commitment to yourself. Again, habits are everything. Just get in the habit of going to the gym every day, going to the gym nightly, and just get your training in. Make friends with your teammates, get to know people, be genuine. Martial arts in a lot of ways is very selfish. Of course, we have to be focused on ourselves and focused on our improvement, looking out for our own best interest, but also what's the saying? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. In a lot of ways, it's very, very true when it comes to your teammates. You have to, of course, be a good teammate, take care of your teammates, and just have good relationships with them. That way, before and after class, you can ask people to to drill with you, and they'll just really help you in your journey, help you get better, and encourage you when you're down, and maybe give you advice and feedback and things like that. Like, I'm so lucky that the very first day of jiu-jitsu, I met this this wonderful woman, Liz, Miss Liz Mitrovich, and she's we quickly became friends, and she's still my best friend today, 11 years later. And yeah, if it hadn't been for her, like, probably so many times, like, maybe I wouldn't have stuck with it, but in the beginning, but yeah, she's just such a encouragement, inspiration for me. So yeah, just like bond with your teammates, and just enjoy the process. That's really the key. Just have fun. Don't be hard on yourself. Celebrate your small victories, and don't sweat the losses. Don't sweat the hard days. There were a lot of days in the beginning where I would leave the gym like in tears because I just got beat up so bad, and I was like, I suck at this. How am I ever gonna get good at this? but believe me, like, just stick with it. Like, you got to get through the hard parts of jiu-jitsu to really start reaping the rewards and picking the fruits of your labor. So but yeah, just keep your head up, stay strong. Some days you're just working on your mental toughness, and that's it. You're just working on getting through it. And then but things will start to click, things will start to make sense. Trust in your technique, trust in your training. And then when you hit that first submission, oh gosh, like, I remember hitting my first armbar in jiu-jitsu, like that was my very first submission ever. I remember it like it was yesterday. Like, I managed to get to the mount position, and I kind of froze for a second. I was like, what do I do? I'm in mount. What do I do? And it went through my mind. I'm like, okay, armbar, do the armbar. I'm like 3 weeks into training at this point, right? I'm like, okay, armbar. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna isolate the arm, I'm gonna turn, I'm gonna put my leg over the face, I'm gonna fall back. I'm like coaching myself through it in my mind, but I'm trying to do it like exactly the way that my instructor has shown. And then I did it, and then he tapped. And I'll never forget, this is such a jerk thing to do, but I didn't know it like back then. But he tapped, and I look right at him, and I'm like, did you tap for real? Or did you let me have that? And he's like, no, you got me. And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited.
That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the difference with men and women, because guys, often I hear guys don't go as hard when they train with women because, we all, as we know, especially if a guy is well trained, you want to be careful. You don't want to hurt her. And sometimes when you get the guy in a position, you say, you know what, she's not squeezing me that hard, but it's annoying. But let me just tap out to make her feel good. But it's good that that you're proud of what you're doing, the work you put in, the time you put in. I often say like this. Sometimes, like anything, it's a process. And then once you understand the process, then you can trust the process. And it's good you have your friend that stands in your corner, that helps you out, and that trains with you, and people you know. And it's tough. Like, this is a question. Since you are a jiu-jitsu specialist, and a friend of mine often asks this, and I asked this a lady a while back. She's not a jiu-jitsu fighter, but she has a jiu-jitsu white belt, but she is a bodybuilder. I asked her this question: how do you get out of a Kimura?
Well, it depends from where, but if I'm on, like, let's say, like, when I pass half guard, a lot of times the person on bottom is gonna try to snatch up a Kimura on me. Like, that's a really common tactic. Somebody, like, it's a defensive tactic to get that Kimura, and you either get the submission or you at least manage to roll them and then gain position on them. So yeah, as I'm passing half guard, a lot of guys will try to throw in a quick Kimura on that close side arm, and just posture up out of it. And then remember that anytime your arms are entangled in that way, if they have a Kimura on you, you also have a Kimura back. So if I posture up and separate their hands, then I can lock up my own Kimura and finish my own Kimura from the top half guard. But a lot of submission attempts, especially when you're the person on top and they're the person on bottom, you can get out of those attempts just by having good posture and awareness. Keep your elbows tight, keep your hands connected, especially when, in terms of the Kimura, because you can't get your limb isolated. If you keep your hands connected, then they're having to fight two limbs, not one. And then just posture. That's and it's funny because in jiu-jitsu, like, a lot of answers, they are just really simple like that, but but it's about really, really having an awareness of those details. But yeah, jiu-jitsu at its core, it is simple. It's posturing, it's positioning, it's underhooks, it's just tight elbows, chin down, those kind of things will take you a really long ways in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Here's a comment from my man, shout out to my man, KL. He says, do you have any off day from training? So, what's your training regimen like? And do you have some time off to get to relax and rest?
Yeah, so I take at least one rest day a week, so that's usually Sundays. But if I'm not feeling like beat up, if I feel like I still have a lot of energy, I like to go for a run or like a really hard bike ride. So but I listen to my body. I'm very, very in tune with myself, and then also the Fitbit helps again because it shows me my recovery scores and what my heart rate variability is, my resting heart rate, and there's certain physical signs of stress that my body's going to show if it needs to rest. Like my resting heart rate will jump up or my HRV will lower. And if I haven't been getting good sleep that week, that's going to really affect my recovery. So again, a little lifestyle thing. You have to get a lot of sleep when you're pushing your body hard, when you're doing hard things, and especially when you're dieting too. Like it's important to get that good amount of sleep every night. But yeah, so normally at least one rest day a week, and if I feel like my body needs it, especially based on the data in my Fitbit, like I'll go ahead and just take a full rest day and not work out at all. I'll just make sure to take a full one. And then if I feel like I've been pushing extra hard that week and I need an extra rest day, then maybe I'll take 2 rest days. So maybe I'll take an extra rest day on Thursday or Friday. But I don't take more than 2 rest days a week. I'm still very disciplined in my training. The only time that I take significant time off is if I'm sick, okay? Because if I have germs, obviously I don't want to go to the gym and share them. That's not fair to the other people that are preparing for fights and pushing themselves. Like really, really selfish thing to do to go to the gym when you're sick. Don't go to the gym when you're sick. And also, it doesn't help you develop as an athlete. It doesn't help you get better. When you're sick, you need to stay home and just rest. Like your body is broken down. Like stop everything and just get better. And if you do stop everything and just take time off, look, usually you'll be better in 2 or 3 days. But if you continue to try to push through it, tough through it, just keep training, it's going to take like an entire week or week and a half, and your training's just going to suck the whole time. So no, just stay home and like stay in bed and chill. And it's hard. It's really hard. But yeah, when I'm sick, that's the only time. And then after a fight, if I took somewhat, like hard punches to the head, then I think it's important to at least take a full week off. And just let that head really recover because, and then don't spar for at least a month. Just take it easy with the brain damage. Brain damage is real. You have to watch it, of course. But then, we're also like built pretty tough, and look, one concussion or one significant strike to the head, like you will recover from that. But if you get a concussion and then 2 days later you get another concussion and then 4 days later you get another concussion, that's when you start having serious issues with your health. So you do have to take that part seriously. But then otherwise, again, it's about habits. And so I never want to take more than 2 rest days a week because otherwise I start falling in bad habits and thinking like, oh, I'll just take one more rest day. Like, no, I have to be disciplined and just continue in those good habits. And I do enjoy what I do. I love it. So yeah, I'm not trying to stay home. I want to always be in the gym anyway.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a plan there, Joy. But you know what? My other guy says, I never have a plan. I'm just a dog chasing cars. I don't know what to do if I get one. And yeah, it's good to have the time because you know what? Concussions is very in any sport. There was a whole concussion issue with football years ago that changed the habits. With new helmets. We've seen fighters. Remember when Joanna Jędrzejczyk, when she fought Wally Jing that first fight, she looked like like aliens. If there will be others, that was a hematoma out of hell. And in a knockout, because some places have protocols. They don't let you fight for another maybe 3 to 6 months because they want to let you, because there's only so much that the body and the brain can take when it comes to trauma. Because you've seen fighters who have dealt with some things like punch drunkenness, deal with mental issues. Sometimes, and especially don't get a regular checkup, like you see a urologist, not a urologist, that's a neurologist or any kind of specialist that deals with sports injuries. It's good to have that. And also sponsorship does help because are you sponsored right now?
No, unfortunately not. So Godiva, which is the clothing that I wear, they had been sponsoring me at the beginning of my pro career, and then they dropped me, unfortunately. but I still have a bunch of great clothing from them that they've given me over the years, and I still wear it in the cage because I'm not gonna remake my whole fight outfit, not until there's a reason to. If I get sponsored by another clothing company, then I'd be happy to represent them. Rev Gear does still sponsor me. They don't pay me, but they give me all sorts of free gear, and they promote me. You know, they post about me, and you know, so I've enjoyed working with Rev Gear, and I've worked with them since they actually originally were sponsoring me in jiu-jitsu back in 2018. Yeah, this is when they started sponsoring me. So they've actually been with me for 7 years, and free. You know, they send me my gis, my gloves, my shin guards, ankle wraps, like everything. So yeah, but Rev Gear right now is my only actual sponsor.
Well, that's good. You have that. The other company, you know what? Forget about them. Forget about them. You know what? You have a fighter like yourself who has talented, who's intelligent, knows how to fight, and guys gotta say this too. She's party too, so I think you should promote your talent. My man KL, he agrees when he says, she looks like a delicate flower. She's not that delicate, brother. And also, he says this. He says she sounds like a specialist. Would you want to be a coach one day? You say you own your own gym, right?
Yep.
And how long have you been doing that? That's most of your bread and butter, which
Yeah.
pays for your fighting like that.
Yes. So I've owned my own gym for 3 years now. So yes, I am a coach, and I love to coach people, and it helps me be a better martial artist. I have to break down my techniques and explain how to do things to beginners, and also just really pay attention to their body movements and their mechanics, and pick out the things that they're doing wrong, and how to improve different things. It's interesting. Every person is so unique. Their athleticism, the way that they move, the way that they use their bodies. And so it makes me, a much better martial artist to have to really pick up on those details.
That's good. It's good that you know how to teach people. You're still learning yourself because, like I said, this is a process. You have to work on your strength as much as your weaknesses. You're good at the BJJ. You might also work on your stand up. Also you did a little of Muay Thai back in the day, and that's also a good skill because you can use knees and the head grab and stuff like that. Attack the body. One thing I tell people, hey, you can always go for the head, but remember the body. Once you hit somebody here, the kidneys, you can take them out. And and this is a question I ask you, ladies, especially any competitor in any kind of sport, especially you're dieting, you're eating clean, you like your Nutella, but Joy, tell me, after your last fight, share with me, what was that thing that you had, the thing that you wanted the most, the thing that you desired, the things that I often say make you stranger, but make you stronger.
Yeah. So so my best friend picked me up at the airport when I got home from the fight, and we actually went out for Indian food, which I very rarely go out for Indian food. I don't know why. I just don't a lot. But I love all those flavors and spices, and I have no idea what I'm eating or what's in it or even how to pronounce it, like zero idea. But I love a different kind of ethnic foods. So yeah, the Indian food was like clutch. It's so good. A lot of calories in it, I'm sure, but really, really good. And then the following night, then went to the taco truck. I love, I'm in California, so we have like the best Mexican food. Oh my goodness. Everything's just like fresh. Like the people at the taco stand, like they barely even speak English. I'm practicing my Spanish. Me das una torta, blah, blah, blah.
Mucho español, mucho me corto mi sazón.
There you go. But yeah, but like a little bit goes a long ways, but yeah, like I love tortas. Oh my god, like and tacos and
Burritos,
great,
and,
all of it.
enchiladas. I think
Yeah,
there's that one where it's corn. I remember her smile. It's corn with, I think it was mayo and
elote.
cheese. Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't like mayonnaise, so I don't want to eat that. But yeah, hers is good because
yeah,
the fat of the mayonnaise helps with the flavor. But yeah, I mean everybody has their favorite. Instead again, food is both a tool and a weapon. It's not much about it's any athlete. I do like content bodybuilding. Some ladies love certain things. I have ladies tell me one of their favorites. Like one time, we have you ladies says that she loves sushi. Like I told her this, I grew up poor, but not so poor where I had to eat cold raw fish. But it's good that that you find a balance for yourself as a person in the sport, training, working out, understanding the factors as an athlete. As with Invicta, they're planning on trying to open up the 145 division. And I asked this with the Jamie, would you be interested in doing a Phoenix series if they offer it?
Oh, what series?
A Phoenix series. They used to do this every so often, especially when any of the titles get vacated. it's a series where you fight for either the title or for contendership for a title.
Oh yeah, so like the Ultimate Fighter type thing.
Yeah, they do it like it's more kind of like Ultimate Fighter, but they do it in one day. You fight opponent, that's your first opponent, you beat them, then you go and that day you go to the next opponent, and then you fight to see who's the overall winner. I know why I talk game because they still don't have enough women just yet. But you can check with Invicta or reach out to Shannon and ask her about it. She'll explain it to you. Or any other fighter who knows about the Phoenix series, they did it with the atomweight division, strawweight division, even did with the bantamweight division. It's But right now, I think because I don't think they're still trying to build back up 145 in Invicta because it's been a long time since they had a champion. I think maybe we might see it maybe by next year, if not by the end of the year. It's a lot. It's really good because you just fight one person once. If they either go by decision or if you take them out, with a submission, you're a submission specialist. That'd be good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like a tournament, like a 1 day or a couple day tournament. Yeah, totally. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm totally down for that. I love fighting. I love fighting in different rule sets, different challenges. So yeah, absolutely. I just want to get another fight again as soon as possible and work my way towards that Invicta title because that's going to be a great title to earn. And yeah, and whoever I have to fight next, I'm kind of thinking perhaps myself and Jamie Edenton, maybe we'll get paired up. I would love that. She, she's a striker. I'm a grappler, so it'd be a fun, interesting fight. But yeah, I'm just eyes on that Invicta title next.
Yeah, like I said, you just want to fight. You just want to bust somebody up. You just want to fight. You just want to put somebody in the chokehold. Like KL, he wants a chokehold, but hey, KL, we're not doing that today, okay, brother? Okay, all right. But yeah, it's a lot. Here, this is from my man KL. He's a fan. He says, "How far do you see yourself fighting, and how long you been competing?"
So I started jiu-jitsu at 24. That was 11 years ago. So I'm 35 now, and I've. Mm-hmm.
You got just get out. You got just when you talk about guy out of college, you just get out of college. You got you should be 25. Shit.
Sunscreen. Gotta wear sunscreen.
See, I've been out in the sun a lot. I get too dark. Sunscreen don't. My skin's like leather now. It's like But yeah, like I said, you're still a young lady. You still got a good ways to go.
Thank you. And I don't have a lot of mileage, I've been really good about injuries. Like I haven't taken any crazy amount of damage or anything. So I've always told myself that I'm going to retire when I'm 40 because I'm not going to, be wanting to put myself through that at a certain age. I think, and I do think like at a certain point, everybody needs to stop and, we don't recover the same way as we get older and older. And right now I still recover fine. But I mean, I have to really take care of myself and be very on top of everything, my nutrition and my sleep and ice baths and all this stuff. But yeah, definitely I'm going to fight until I'm 40. And then maybe push it to 45. We'll see how my body feels. So that's at least 5 to 10 more years. But absolutely definitely after 45, I'm going to need to quit because otherwise I'll just go forever. I love fighting so much. But you do there's a time and a season for everything, and eventually it will be the season to transition back into coaching more. And then also I can always compete in jiu-jitsu at any age because there's all these different masters divisions. So I think the IBJJF has up to master 8, so you can compete in your 70s against other 70-year-olds, So I think that would be really fun. I'll definitely be in martial arts the rest of my life. I just love it too much. I'm a lifelong martial artist for sure. So if when I retire from mixed martial arts, from cage fighting, then I'll definitely still compete in jiu-jitsu at least a little bit just to stay active in the sport.
One question says, what's your family think of it? Especially your mom and dad, because you think about it. Your dad says, that's my baby, she's getting hit. Or your mama says, that's my little girl. I'm worried. Come on, baby. I don't want you to get messed. I don't want you to get a nose like this,
Yes. They were very concerned at first. In fact, when I told them that I wanted to have an amateur fight because I just wanted to try it out and see what it was like, my dad got so mad and he was like, I hope you get your butt beat so bad that you never do that stupid thing again. He was so angry, because he was protective, in a strange sort of way. But so I actually did not tell my parents when I started fighting. Pretty much my entire amateur career was a secret. yeah, they just didn't know. I would be careful about what I posted online. And my parents aren't really online anyway, so that part didn't matter so much. But yeah, I just wouldn't tell them. And then it wasn't until I was actually a professional that then finally my dad was like very begrudgingly, he was like, listen, if you want to fight, like I support you because I know you really like it and I know you're good at it. And I'm like, thank you. And yeah, but they don't watch my fights. They've never watched any of my fights or attended any of my fights, nor do I really want them to. Like that they don't need to. One second. Are you guys closing? Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, I gotta wrap this up. I'm at the coffee shop using their internet, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up. But
Okay, yeah, we won't hold you too long. We do appreciate the time you give us. Yeah, and shout out to your dad. I know it's tough to watch his little girl get into a fight and fighting somebody. Any father will feel bad about it. I tell you the truth, I don't have children, but I do have nieces and nephews. I wouldn't want them to get something to get to hurt. But if you long as you love what you're doing, you gotta love it. Here we go, my man. He's always talking shit. He's saying, like it says, stop trying to be the bodyguard Kevin Costner. Hey, that's me. I always love you. And also he says this. He says, do you play fighting video games like Street Fighters and fighting series?
I don't actually. I've never been a video game player. No.
Yeah, but also this. What I would say this. We're not gonna hold this up. What would you, as a fighter, want for your future?
Well, just to go as far as I possibly can. Be the best version of myself that I possibly can, and then be able to pass on martial arts to others who want to walk the same path.
Yeah. So, folks, we're not going to hold a lot because we got to wrap this up. We had an issue earlier and things were happening. We can't stay here too long. We do appreciate people that lose their Wi-Fi. We wish you best of luck. As you know, what's the plan? And she said you wait for another fight with your A1 title, and also you're hoping that you get another shot in the victor, maybe for maybe a title contender for the 145 title.
Yeah, so my plan is I'm just hitting up every promoter that I have the contact for and just asking for fights and looking for fights. And I have a list of girls that are on my list next, and just want to continue to gain experience, grow as a professional, get that Invicta belt. I'd love to defend my A1 belt anytime Tom is ready to put me back on the show. And yeah, and then any fans who want to support me, please follow me at KillJoy Jiu-Jitsu. It makes a big difference for promoters seeing that fighters have lots of followers and lots of fans, which to me it's so strange because I've never been like one of these Instagram people, but I'm trying to put myself out there more, post more of my stories, let people see a little bit more about my life and my training and who I am just as a person. And so yeah, please like share my profile, give me a follow. The more fans I have, and the more online presence I have, then the more likely these promoters are to put me on their shows because then the
Yeah,
more people are to
because
watch me fight.
yeah, that's good because you know what, social media is very popular. I talk about even in bodybuilding, y'all ladies, y'all need to represent yourselves. Opportunities there. Other people want to give that opportunity to you, and maybe the best of luck to you. Maybe get that chance. We got my man KL. He wants to say this before we head out. He says, "Bye, cutie," and he's a fan. I think you most definitely just picked up a new fan. So, guys, anybody out there who's interested in following Joy in her path as a mixed martial artist, click the link in the description in this live stream. Check her out, support her. Someone genuinely interested in supporting a fighter or even sponsoring a fighter, reach out. But don't be that weird guy saying, "Hey Joy, you're a tall drinking water. I like your fighting. Maybe you can put me." No, stop that. Be somebody who wants to see someone like her lift herself, go to the next level, and maybe hit a career. And shout out to anybody. Dana White Beater, I call him. Hey, bring back 145. Do you have good fighters out here who want the opportunity to represent themselves in the division? Don't be. I understand you're not a fan of it, but we guys want to see that we can see good fights. There's good fighters out there. You just got to take opportunity on it. And I gotta let you go, Joy. The other guy got to say something too because he can't help himself. And Joy, I want to tell you, you are beautiful. I'm sorry. I have to take care of him. I need some specialists and stuff like that. I don't know, but he completes me. So, Joy, like I said, you have any amount of shot before we let you go?
Well, just shout out to Red Gear for being my longtime sponsor, and then of course shout out to my coach Daniel Breeder for helping me so much get to where I've gotten, and all my training partners that really put their bodies on the line every day so that I can get better, and then all my fans. I really appreciate you guys, and And also, like, for the listener who kept commenting today, I appreciate you being a fan, and just remember that, us fighters, we're just people. That's it. Like, we're just normal people. And sometimes it's easy when you're behind that keyboard to kind of say things that are a little like that come off a little funny. But just always consider to yourself, like, how would you speak to me if we were standing face to face? And just talk to me like I'm a person, right? And that's how it is with all the different fighters that you might be a fan of or follow, and especially the female fighters. Again, it's like that whole like dick pic thing. Like, don't send female fighters dick pics.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
because
You can like
I've been doing this for quite some time, and I tell you, I have told stories. Me, ladies, especially when I talk to most of my people, I talk to are female bodybuilders, but I've talked to ladies who tell me guys are weird like that. They might not like something about you, but because they might like something about you that they don't want anybody to know, they want to be undercover. But the thing is, you should respect a lady, and you are a lady, and you love what you do. And and I know some guys can be a little funny, but just when you meet anyone like yourself, you should, hey, hi, my name is, I'm like Monday. I don't know if I ever go to a fight, maybe say, hey, Joy, how you doing? How you doing? And see, great fight. I mean, shout out to you. And and we want to see y'all succeed also. But guys, be people genuinely interested in helping out these fighters. Reach out to them. If you are a person who has a company and wants to support, looking for somebody to sponsor your brand, talk to someone like Joy, especially if she's a fighter. They can use that support, because you know what, fighting, unless you're the high upper echelon fighters like something like UFC or maybe PFL, it's very expensive. A lot of money, a lot of traveling, a lot of this, a lot of costs, pros and trainers, everything, foods and diets. But reach out with genuine interest and just want to see somebody succeed in their path.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
Well, go ahead.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on. It was really great to talk to you, and really great to be able to share a little bit of my story with everybody today.
Well, I quote from my favorite movie, Batman Begins, at the end when Jim Gordon says to Batman, I never get a chance to thank you. And he says, turn around and says, you never have to. This is why, I give most of my content as bodybuilding, but I like to give you ladies also mixed martial arts and other sports the opportunity to share your story. My challenge about giving ladies, women, the opportunity to share who they are and let people understand that you're not just a woman, you're an athlete, you're someone who's dedicated to your sport, and you want the opportunity to grow in that sport. So I want to shout out to my man KF for coming through. Anybody who watched this live stream, support Joy in her path. Wish her best of luck. Even her hating ass daddy, he's a hater. That's your daddy, but he's a hater. He should be congratulated. That's my baby. That's my baby. You should be saying that. But folks, thank you again for coming through. Best of luck to Joy in the future. If you're interested in maybe sponsoring her, she do need followers who help get attention from promoters and also attention from sponsors. Reach out with genuine interest if you want to support her. Don't be that weird guy. So, folks, it's your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Combat Sports Talk. I'd like to say good night to you, good luck to you, Joe, and all the best up to everybody out there. So, good night, good luck. Like I said again, don't subscribe, don't subscribe. Good night, good luck, God bless, and peace.
Bye.